Greetings, beloved beings, fellow travelers on this planet, and guests from other realms. My name is Izobel Freeman, and I'm going to be doing a general reading for the collective for the month of July, 2018. Hope you're all weathering the first week of Mars retrograde as well as you can, and that you started to see some real-world results during the full moon in Capricorn and its potent Saturn conjunction. June's astrology wasn't quite as active as some of the previous months, but that all changes during July, because welcome to eclipse season, friends. July is a really busy month up there in the sky, so let's dive right in and see what the guides have to say for this reading. Let's get to the cards, shall we? As I do in every reading, I'm going to begin by lighting my little candle for my beautiful spirit kitty Pinky, who was in physical with me until 2015. And was and still is my greatest spiritual teacher. All right, everyone, welcome to July. My goodness. First off, I have to say, I can't believe that I've been doing these readings for an entire year. July marks the 1-year anniversary of when I started doing the readings because my guides basically told me that I didn't have a choice. They're like, you have to start doing these and showing them to the world. And I said, okay. So here I am, a year later. Lots of things have happened for me personally. Lots of things have changed in the world. July is a really pivotal month this year. It is the beginning of eclipse season. And for those of you who don't know, astrologically and astronomically, we get eclipse season about every 6 months. And usually eclipses happen in pairs. And this eclipse season is quite special because for this eclipse season, we actually get 3 eclipses in rapid succession. They do come in pairs, usually 1 solar, 1 lunar, or 1 lunar, then 1 solar. So our last pair of eclipses happened in January and February. So here we are halfway into 2018. It's been a roller coaster of a year. And who knows what this next eclipse season will bring. I've had a chance to peek at some of the astrological forecasts and to see what some of the charts look like. And so hopefully we'll get some relevant guidance for our eclipses in this reading. The energy is really supercharged this month. We got a little bit of a lull last month to kind of take stock. A couple of planets were going retrograde, and now we have, for this month, I believe a full 5 planets, 6 if you count Chiron, going retrograde this month. And so for those of you who really want to ratchet it up and really jump forward, you might find yourself having to kind of slow down and take stock. Retrograde season is really weird this year. I know I'm taking a lot of time to ramp up to the reading, but there is really just a lot happening this month, and I really feel like you guys should know astrologically, because the guides usually do give us relevant guidance with the cards to what's going on astrologically in the month. We're going to into a season of what's called retrograde storm. And for those of you who don't know, and I didn't know this until recently, most of the time planets go into retrograde maybe 1 at a time, 2 at a time, sometimes 3 at a time. And that's like a really big deal when 3 planets go into retrograde at once. Well, when 4, 5, and 6 planets start going to retrograde at once, that's what's called a retrograde storm. And these periods of time happen, as far as I know, every 40 or so years when retrogrades start to get really extreme like this. So we'll have a couple of months when no planets are in retrograde, and that's when we feel like everything's really chugging ahead and we're making lots of progress. And then we hit this retrograde storm where everything sort of screeches to a halt and we have to really go inside, take stock, and reevaluate stuff. These can be frustrating periods, but they can also be great periods of a lot of growth for us. So that being said, we're heading into one now, as well as eclipses. So yeah, July is really jam-packed, and I hope the guides have some really good guidance. I'm feeling a lot of really highly charged energy for this reading. So, as I like to do with every reading, I'm going to start by just flipping this beautiful Angel Tarot deck over to see what card we have for our overall energy. For those of you who are new, welcome. All of my decks are pre-shuffled before I read, so I'm just going to go ahead and flip the deck. All right, everyone. The wheel, Archangel Michael, a time of positive change. A situation suddenly moves forward. Fortune is on your side. Well, looks like, regardless of the retrograde storms that we're in the middle of this month, because it's eclipse season, things can really get shaken up regardless of planets being in retrograde. So it's kind of a month of extremes. It's a month of polarization. Eclipses can sort of cause giant changes to happen very quickly. They can flip the switch on things. They can be cosmic reset buttons. They can cause us to have giant aha moments or epiphanies, and they can change things sort of on a dime. So yeah, it's definitely a month of contradictions, but the guides want us to know that this is a time of positive change. Overall, even though there's a bunch of extremes going on and we're being pulled this way and that, it is definitely for our benefit. I feel that overwhelmingly underneath. A situation may suddenly move forward due to the eclipses that we're having this month, and fortune is absolutely on our side. There's a lot going on that is very supportive. Not only do we have a really beautiful grand water trine forming at the beginning of the month, we've also got a grand earth trine later in the month. And I'll talk more about that, hopefully, as relevant cards come up in the reading. Archangel Michael, the granddaddy, the big emperor of all the angels, overseeing our process during this very eventful month of July. The wheel is sort of like the Wheel of Fortune. That is what it's called in traditional tarot, the Wheel of Fortune card. You can see the Ouroboros shape of the snake eating its tail. This is an esoteric symbol of the eternal nature of the cycle of time and the evolution of the soul. And the fact that you can see here all of the astrological signs are represented in the wheel, as well as all four elements. Perfectly balanced, all mastered, all having a seat at the table. There's a place for every piece in the puzzle in the eternal motion of our evolution as a species. And so, yeah, having Archangel Michael here means that there's some really big stuff afoot. 10, numerologically, is it reduces to a 1. You add the 1 and the 0 and you get that 1. So 10 being the end of that sort of count of 1 or 0 to 10 is the end of the cycle and the beginning of the cycle simultaneously at once. And that's why this Ouroboros symbol is so profound. And so this kind of has in it that ending and beginning, the alpha, the omega, the opposites, the merging of light and dark, and the polarization that we're feeling with all the retrograde energy causing us to go within, but yet all the eclipse energy causing us to undergo rapid and really profound transformation. So it's kind of the month of extremes. There's a lot going on. There's not much going on. And depending on what you need in your own journey is what you're going to be feeling energetically. So let's see what else we have in store with our spread. I'm going to begin by shuffling that very loose and intuitive way that I like to shuffle. And this allows cards to sort of come out of the deck of their own accord. That way I don't feel like I'm really influencing anything. I'm just kind of letting the cards come out the way they want to for what I call my quick cross spread. And this spread is a spread I intuitively came up with. You can see this card sneaking out here on its own. The spread I intuitively came up with on my own a little over a year ago for my own purposes and my own use. I was never going to do readings publicly, but the guides told me I had to, so here I am. And I was just doing this on my own. And for those of you who are new to tarot, if you look up online, there's a million different tarot spreads, and many of them are quite complex. There's one that's really classic called the Celtic cross that just has so many cards, and you lay cards in crosses on top of each other, and there's all sorts of different meanings and different positions to the cards. And when I first started looking at tarot spreads, I was really overwhelmed really quick. And so the guides just kind of nudged me and let me invent my own spread with positions that seemed to serve the greatest purpose and Gave a good spread with clarity, and yet it was thorough as well. So this first position in the quick cross spread stands for where we have been in the recent past as a collective, and sort of into the present moment. Recent past into present is what I like to call the position. There's another card sneaking out. The second card in the spread is the present into near future card, and you can see that there's a present moment, a pivot point where they both hinge. These cards tend to be highly related. Sometimes there's a choice hinging on the present moment. Sometimes it's a progression. Sometimes it's just more information that the guides want us to have about our present moment where we have all our manifesting power. Okay, the next thing I'm going to be laying down is a vertical that symbolizes where the collective is mind or higher mind, heart, and with body subconscious wisdom. So it's kind of a snapshot of our human family, what we're dealing with, what we might want to pay attention to as far as all of those areas are concerned. There's a mind or higher mind card. Let's see if we can get a heart card. Yeah, so much going on, and really, oh, this one wants to float off the top. Great. Really excited for this reading, and really kind of honored and gratified that this has been a year-long process for me. Kind of speaking of coming full circle and having this Ouroboros connection, the end and the beginning, the end of a year, the beginning of the next. There's one. Body subconscious wisdom card. So yeah, I can feel a lot of the push-pull contradiction energy of lots of planets retrograde, wanting us to slow down and take a look. Which card do you want? This one. Okay. And the eclipses wanting us to transform immediately. So crazy. This position I like to call the help card. This is usually the card where the guides can give us advice about either a cautionary thing that they want us to pay more attention to that we may not be paying attention to in our own lives, some issue that we need to take a closer look at, or it can be, say, spiritual, emotional, mental, or physical aid that they may be sending us to help with our journey this month. The final card in the spread is what some people like to call the outcome card. I like to call it the most probable direction the collective will be moving in this month of July. I know that's not as sexy as the outcome card, but I never like to say that anyone can predict the future, because the future is really up to you, up to us at any moment. All of our manifestational power, like I said, is in the present. And so we can choose. There's a general weather pattern that the collective is most likely following, and that's what we get in this spread. And how you position yourself within that greater movement is always up to you in every moment. Okay, this one popping out. So there we are with our most probable direction. So much going on. All of the astrological prep that I did for this reading just took up pages, and it's all rattling around in my brain. I want to tell you guys about everything. Guys, girls, and everyone in between. I say guys, but it's everyone. So let's see what's going on, sort of recent past into present, with all of us here on planet Earth. Yeah, 7 of air. Plans that need revision, more going on than meets the eye, poor timing. My goodness, doesn't it feel like the end of June has been sort of a chaos? Has had such a sort of a chaos energy? With Mars turning retrograde and all of the things out there in the news, and people feeling just in general sort of discombobulated. There's this kind of loss of focus. Lots of planets, like I said, retrograde, and that's not really changing anytime soon. So yeah, this is a time for all of us to really take stock of our lives, especially with the recent Capricorn full moon with the Saturn conjunction. Saturn has a way of sort of grabbing us all by the scruff. Saturn is sort of the karmic planet. Saturn is the planet that sort of catches up with us and says, did you do your homework? Have you done what you set out to do? Are you living your highest truth in your life? And if you're not, what are you doing running around like a chicken, pursuing all these things that may not be worth your time? Seven of Air is the card of maybe you've been pursuing things that you thought were important, but maybe they're not as important as you thought they were. And you need to stop running on the crazy hamster wheel, or stop running in the rat race of doing everything you think you should be doing. Take a pause, put your feet firmly on the planet, get grounded. This is that crazy making monkey mind energy that can take over, especially when you've been on the internet too long and you just, those hours go by and you suddenly pull your head out and you don't even know what you've been doing. Yeah. But luckily, even though this card seems kind of chaotic and bad, the 7 is this wonderful, amazing, sort of lucky number. There's many cultures that believe that 7 is a lucky number. 7 is an esoteric spiritual number. I've said before, and not that recently, that say a 5-pointed star or even a 6-pointed star is relatively easy to draw on your first try. Like if you've never tried to draw a star, you could draw like a 5-pointed star that we've seen that tends to be more like on the American flag, or the fun stars that you get from your teacher as a kid in school. Or even the hexagram, the 6-pointed star that's known as the Star of David. That is relatively simple to draw on your first try. But if you try to draw a 7-pointed star on your first try, it's just kind of slippery. It's very, very difficult to figure out, to wrap your brain around how to draw a 7-pointed star. This is because the number 7 sort of lives in this otherworldly place. It's kind of a holy number. It's that, I like to call it the number of stupid luck. It's when things work out for you, even though they don't look like there's any way that they could work out for you. You're just sort of lucky, or fate intervenes, or there's a miracle. Something comes in out of nowhere with no 3D physical chain of causality and somehow makes everything work out right. This is the secret inside joke, very comforting nature of this card, even though we've been running around like crazy people and we do need plans to make revisions to our plans. And there's a lot going on under the surface, especially out there on the world stage. And it's all being revealed in the news and lots of things we don't want to look at and don't want to deal with. And in our private lives as well. Stuff that's been on autopilot for a long time, and stuff that we think needs to happen now, but we're not ready. Like Saturn's caught us by the scruff, and we're not ready to live our highest truth just yet because we've been distracted or putting our energy into things that don't serve us. This is definitely what the end of June has felt like, and I can definitely understand this. Air cards are all about the mind, like I said, about that racy monkey mind that won't let you sleep at night. And hopefully the rest of the spread will reveal some sort of help for this card. Poor timing can also indicate any projects we're trying to get off the ground, things that we've been really, really wishing for and putting a lot of energy into, but we're feeling a little thwarted, especially since so many planets are in retrograde right now. Things may not be working out at the moment, but this secret 7 of luck tells us that we have a bright future to look forward to. Wonderful. Okay, let's take a look at what's happening present into near future. All right, 2 of Air. Okay, we are on the fence about something. Being unable or unwilling to make a decision, a stalemate, pretending there is no problem. This reminds me of the energy of the 2 eclipses that we've got going on this month. Again, this feels like that pullback of retrogrades and the demanding for change, the demand for change that the eclipses are going to force us to take a look at. Again, another air card. 2 being the number of balance, of maybe finding balance between competing viewpoints, possibly finding some balance for the combative energy that is out there in the world, the us versus them energy, the energy that keeps us on separate sides of fences and lobbing rocks at each other and calling other people evil or whatever. Or this could be two sides of us, two sides of you, so to speak. If you've got competing beliefs inside yourself, this could be two halves or two parts of one mind, two arguments, and being unable to come to sort of decision. Two can also be, it can be a number of competition and disagreement and trying to find a balance between opposites, but it can also turn into this number of partnership. You notice how these two air cards, they look sort of not so fun, but the numerology of them could turn in a good direction depending on how we use our power in the present. Two of air could be a partnership, could be a meeting of two minds. And when you have two people who are brilliant and amazing come together and collaborate with a clear mind and focus, you can come up with beautiful solutions to things that aren't seeming to work right now. So yeah, if you're in this space, I get it. I totally do. It can be tough. We can want to retreat into the comfort of old ways of being, old belief systems. We could pretend there is no problem, but really life, the wheel is moving forward. The one thing about the wheel, which is our overall energy for the reading, is that the wheel moves forward whether we want it to or not, whether we're ready or not. And that's some tough love from the universe, but it also is in alignment with our highest desires as a species and our highest desires as individual souls. So yeah, we've got some themes in the eclipses that are feeling like this. There's some stagnant energy, especially with Mars being retrograde the entire month of July. That's a really big undercurrent of what's going on, this sort of stalemate energy. Mars is our personal power, our will to move forward, our belief that we have the power, we have the personal initiative to do what we wish in our lives, to manifest what we want. But it's also a manifestation of the way that the divine masculine has been manifesting on the planet for, frankly, the whole of human history. We've got some really stagnant, old, patriarchal, masculine structures that really need to be reinvented. And that's what this whole Mars retrograde season is about. Mars usually takes about 6 weeks to go through a sign. And this time it's going to be in like the sign of Aquarius, which is an air sign. So talking about beliefs, talking about re-examining our beliefs on a certain topic. And so we're going to be re-examining the role of the divine masculine in our collective for the next 5 months, friends, for the next 5 months. It's kind of crazy town. And Mars is in fact retrograde for this entire month and plays a really big role in the second of the eclipses, the total lunar eclipse later on in the month. But until then, we've got some house cleaning to do, looks like, with limiting beliefs and bad priorities that we've been wasting energy on. And we're on the fence. We're not quite ready to tip over yet, but I sense this growth coming because these numbers, this is a very positive number. This could go either way and is definitely hinged on our choice in the moment. So those of you who are in places in your life where you've got a choice, and the choice is hard and it's scary looking, and instead of doing anything about it, you're just kind of pretending it's not there and hoping it'll go away on its own, it's not gonna. There's gonna come a point where you do have to exercise your manifestational power in the present, and you've got to make that choice. And it has to do with old stale beliefs or old stale priorities that you must let go of, that you're not quite willing to because you're scared. And that's okay. That's where we are right now. And let's see what the guides can tell us about sort of our body state, mind, higher mind. Justice, Archangel Raguel, Fair and just decisions. Do what you know is right. Stand up for your beliefs. Okay, another major arcana card, another archangel helping see us through this process in July. 8, the number of eternity, our eternal nature. If you take an 8 and you turn it on its side, you get that lovely eternity, infinity symbol. Archangel Raguel, the angel of justice, can be seen as rather harsh, and this can be some of that Saturn energy hanging around. Saturn in Capricorn, retrograding now in Capricorn, definitely has this feeling. Pluto's been plowing through Capricorn for a very good many years now, and is also retrograde right now. So yeah, and Mars, as it retrogrades, is going to retrograde back into Capricorn. I'm talking so much about Capricorn because Capricorn tends to be the sign of consequences. Now, I know you can see the scales of Libra in the Justice card, and that's true. Libra does tend to be the sign that wants to make everything fair for everyone and wants to make sure that everyone in relationships is having their own say and everyone gets a voice. Everyone gets a voice and everyone is included and decisions are made fairly. And that's really wonderful. But right now, this really feels like all the planets in Capricorn, because Capricorn is also traditionally, when it comes to large bodies of large groups of people or countries, the sign of government, the sign of governmental power and hierarchy and power structures. So this is something that is really heavy on our mind right now. You can see the pillars of justice here behind this angel, and this points to the other esoteric meaning of this card, in that sometimes the justice and the power or the strength cards are reversed numerically in certain systems of tarot. You can see that these two pillars look like an 11. So sometimes the strength and the justice card are either 11 or 8, and sometimes they're interchanged depending on what system of tarot you're looking at. So these pillars can be seen as master number 11, the gateway, the possibility of us going through this gateway from an old, calcified, outworn, obsolete way of thinking into a new, beautiful, more fair, more just way of thinking. And action, thinking, feeling, and action, where we are able to stand up for our beliefs as whole human beings. This is definitely getting out of that monkey mind indecision state and trying to come to a place where you know who you are and you are living your highest truth. This is going to be really in play, frankly, during both eclipses. The first eclipse in July is happening, it's happening on the 12th. And it is a new moon or a partial solar eclipse. Now, it's not going to be a very, you're not going to see, frankly, if you're in the US, you're not going to see it at all, because both of these eclipses we won't be able to see visibly from the United States. They are happening over other parts of the planet. But this solar eclipse, even though it's only a little part of the sun that is eclipsing, this is signaling some sort of reset or change. And the cool thing about, or the cool or the really profound thing about the solar eclipse on the 12th is that it's at 20 degrees Cancer, and Cancer is primarily the sign that's associated with family and nurturing and protection of family. So this could have something to do with the stuff that's been going on in the world, on the world stage about, especially here in the US, about the families at the border, immigration, and who and what their rights are. And also the right of the family unit and the right of the self to nurture. This is about safety and self-care and the sovereignty of the family unit versus the power of government, hierarchy, rules, and control structures. This is because the solar eclipse is happening at 20 degrees Cancer, which is opposite, exactly opposite, where Pluto, the Lord of deep transformation and, frankly, alchemical rebirth, is hanging out at 20 degrees of Capricorn. Capricorn, again, the sign of government and rules and structure and control in this case. So you've got an opposition between this solar eclipse and the mighty god of alchemical death and rebirth transformation. So something is going on when it comes to family and home and personal sovereignty, health issues, self-care, female health, anything having to do with women's bodies and their agency over their bodies. Big justice themes happening in opposition to control. Pluto is also the planet of whose shadow side can be all about control issues. So yeah, there's a lot of heavy stuff that's weighing on the mind here. And luckily, we've got some major arcana archangels helping us through this. Some of you in your present day-to-day lives may be dealing with legal issues, may be dealing with some sort of situation where you or someone important to you has been accused of something, or whether you're in a fight with a bigger structure or a person in authority who seems to have a lot of control. So if you're in that position, please know that the archangels are looking out for you, and something will shift because the eclipse is happening right at this point in opposition to Pluto. Something will shift in that balance of power and control versus the sanctity of family and self-care and say health issues. So those of you who are going through that, just know that you do have support from the universe. And as long as you connect to higher mind and you connect to not the shadow sides of all of these elements, not that you decide to play the game and try to control back, or you try to assert power over someone. As long as you're seeking true justice, where there's a balance, where there's fairness and everyone gets a seat at the table, you're going to have the support of the universe. Beautiful. Stand up for your beliefs. Don't hang around and vacillate here. Don't stick your head in the sand and pretend there's not a problem, because these things are real. And deep down, you know it. In higher mind, deep down or high up in higher mind, you do know that it's time. It's time to stand up for your highest truth. Beautiful. Okay, let's see what's going on in the heart center. Page of Earth. Scholarly, dependable, patient, and successful. Good news about financial matters. Wanting to do something more challenging, a new area of study. Remember in the last reading, those of you who were with us last month, there was that 8 of Water card that indicated that some of you, were considering changing your life's direction in some way, in some new profound way that enriched your soul's growth more. This seems like some of you have taken this to heart. The Page of Earth is our first court card here in this reading. This means that this could represent a person who is coming into your life. Look out for those earth signs. So those Virgos, Tauruses, and Capricorns in your life. Anyone who feels like this, who is a scholarly, dependable, patient, successful person. I always look at this fairy in this card, and she reminds me of, say, Hermione Granger from Harry Potter, the archetype of the person who always knows the right answer. There's a very Virgo energy about this card. The studious one, the one who knows the answer to all of your life's quandaries, right? And who knows how to do it with grace and by following all the rules, by the book. So yes, this is good. This feels like the energy of let's see here, around this crazy solar eclipse that's happening on the 12th, there is a supportive energy that's being brought up underneath it, in that the sun and, no, it's not the sun. It's Saturn, Uranus, and Venus are in 3 different earth signs: Saturn in Capricorn, Uranus in Taurus, and Venus having just recently entered Virgo. This is why this Virgo energy is shining so brightly here. This beautiful equilateral triangle among earth signs is forming. And this is a hugely supportive shape. It's very stable. It is very dependable. It speaks about new things happening. Wanting to do something more challenging is a very Venus trine Uranus energy. This idea of getting good news about financial matters, possibly suddenly, possibly from an earth sign coming into your life, telling you good news about financial matters. And to do something more challenging, Uranus and Saturn pairing up, Uranus and Taurus and Saturn and Capricorn pairing up, showing you that if you put sustained effort into this new area of study and you approach it with heart-based passion, that when Saturn and Uranus team up, it's wonderful because you get the lightning strike, aha, genius energy of Uranus, but with the stability and long-lastingness of Saturn. So you know that anything you build and anything you study at this time is going to bear fruit in the long run and is going to support you in the long run over your journey. This is a really great time because so many planets are in retrograde. Frankly, Saturn's in retrograde and Uranus is in retrograde. So it's a really good time to be investing in your future. Those of you who do feel the call to pursue something new, like that Eight of Water was telling us last time, it's a great time to go to school, so to speak. It doesn't have to literally be school. Those of you who are going to school, congratulations, and hope you have all the fun studying your new area of passion. But for those of you who just want to study on your own, or possibly take up a new hobby or a new passion project of any sort, as long as it's coming from the heart, like I said, it will bear fruit if you're willing to be patient and dedicated, especially in this next month or so where there's going to be so many planets in retrograde, just tons. Awesome. Also, this is a really great time, especially since we've got that grand Earth trine energy and with all the retrogrades and with the crazy eclipse energy. Eclipses can be rather disruptive to your life and to your feelings because we all secretly sort of feel the lightning strike or the reset button. It's almost like somebody switched off the lights and switched them back on really fast. And that can be jarring to some of us. And a really good thing to do is to just get out there and put your bare feet on the planet Earth. This could also be the message of this page of Earth, letting us know that we do have the support not only of all this archangel overseeing, all these archangels overseeing our journey, but also the planet. The planet definitely wants us to talk to her because of the Earth trine. It's a huge opportunity to just reconnect, to remember what's really important from day to day in our lives, to feel the joy and pleasure of being in a human body. For those of you seeking those health-related and self-care-related resolutions, to touch the planet and to feel her support and her love. Really great time to be connecting with your Earth self because the Earth is highly connected to the heart center, the heart chakra in your body, and can replenish you in ways that are just you can't really articulate. There are actually scientific studies coming out now that talk about the rejuvenating qualities that just taking a walk in nature can bring forth. And I should say with this page of Earth, it is a court card, so it could be an Earth sign or a person embodying the traits of Earth signs. Doesn't necessarily have to be an Earth sign, but definitely needs to feel like this, coming forth in your life to help you. But this could also be an aspect of you coming up at this time, maybe an aspect or a part of yourself that has never come to the fore before or has been sort of on the back burner in recent times. And now it's time for that earthy aspect of you to come up and to lend you support through the heart center. Beautiful. Okay, let's take a look at body subconscious wisdom. Ace of Fire. An exciting new opportunity, career advancement, change your life now. Look at this. This is kind of wonderful to have underneath everything. This reminds me that as much as everybody likes to talk doom and gloom about the Mars retrograde, I have this really good feeling about the fact that the divine masculine energy of Mars. Now, again, we give these planets personifications that have sexual polarity because it can be useful, because the energies can be categorized in that way. It doesn't necessarily mean, just like this court card does not have to be a female person just because the person, the character on the card is pictured as a female. It could be any sex, any gender identity that you want to adopt. The sexes don't really matter so much in tarot. However, historically, Mars has been personified as the sort of archetype of the typically divine masculine power of yang energy. The sun, Mars, Pluto, they tend to be categorized as that sort of doing, breaking boundaries, going to war, getting stuff done, shoving stuff around, slaying dragons type of energy. And so we personify that as divine masculine energy, and we've seen the divine masculine energy be quite destructive in our human collective history, and it's time for a reinvention. This is beautiful. This is that reinvention of the wheel coming forward and rolling forward from the end of a cycle, which is the 10, into the brand new Ace of Fire. And this is the energy that I feel at the root of this entire month while Mars is retrograde. When a planet is retrograde, it doesn't always necessarily mean bad things are going to happen. I know Mercury retrogrades have gotten they're really famous for being, oh no, the sky is falling and now my tech won't work and I can't talk and people will misunderstand me and my car will break down and all of that stuff. And that can be true. Mars retrograde, there can be things, on a practical level, there can be things going wrong with, say, machines that move. So, you know, those of you who are thinking of maybe buying a new vehicle might want to wait till Mars is out of retrograde, just because Mars is that forward-moving, passionate engine of creation. Fire cards are all about that alchemical fire of manifestation that we all have in the heart of us, the spark of creativity. And Mars is the manifestation of that energy at work in 3D space-time, getting stuff done. Whether that means you're a killer of enemies and you go out there and you make war, or whether it means that you drive the engines that move things around and produce stuff for our use. That's a very Martian energy. This Ace of Fire is so cool to be having at the root level of things because it means that this Mars retrograde period is going to result in some beautiful reinvention of divine masculine, alchemical fire creativity. An exciting new opportunity, career advancement, change your life now. It could be career advancement, but it could also just be identity change for the divine masculine. This is so, so needed for us right now. And this definitely speaks to that. I was hinting at the full moon total lunar eclipse that's happening at the end of the month. That's happening at approximately 4 degrees Aquarius, right on top of a little understood point called the south node of the moon. Now, the two lunar nodes are very, they can be important in astrology. Some astrologers use them, some don't, but they typically represent the axis of fate that the collective is taking a look at now. Right now, and for the last little while, the nodes have been traveling through the signs of Leo and Aquarius. So the north node is usually typically described as the destiny that we're all sort of trying to get to. And the south node can usually be the destiny, the place from which we've come, the territory that we've already covered, that we already kind of know about. And the north node, south node axis in Leo and Aquarius just talks about the idea that we're focusing on self-actualization. Leo is definitely the sign that is totally focused on the actualization and the realization of one's own desires in a divinely balanced way. There's bad ways to manifest this energy, and there's good ways to manifest this energy. And when you get a really balanced Leo energy, you have self-love. You have look how happy with himself this character looks. You have self-love on a level that we all aspire to. And this is where you are the sun of your own universe, literally the shining star at the center of your own solar system, where everything's about you in a very good way because you are good, right? And so the South Node in Aquarius is going to be sort of the shadow side. The South Node can get a bad rap. People can say, oh, it's bad, but more like it's the old way of doing things. So Aquarius can have good traits, which is fairness to all people and idealism and beautiful embracing of the new. But there's a shadow side, like I said, to every sign. And so the shadow side of the South Node in Aquarius can be old, calcified beliefs that are not serving us, that are disempowering in some way, that are in some way holding us back from our progress and our soul's growth. And so this axis is really, really important. And the fact that the lunar eclipse, which is a total lunar eclipse, so it means it's a really big switching on and off, it's a big reset button for us. The moon in Aquarius at about 4 degrees is going to be conjunct the South Node. So conjunct all of these, sitting on top of all these beliefs that we really need to let go of, these old ways of thinking about things, and right on top of Mars retrograde. So this is a really, really big deal. Again, it's happening on the 27th of July, and we won't be able to see it from the US, unfortunately, but we will be able to feel it. And so this lunar eclipse is a big, big step towards that reinvention. This is the reset of the divine masculine, the Mars retrograde energy, the Martian doing, let's bend everyone to our will, let's defeat our enemies, and let's make war on everything that we don't like type of manifestation of that masculine energy has got to change. And so it's gone retrograde to sort of reinvent itself. And the eclipse at the end of the month is totally about hitting the reset button on this Martian energy. And that being at the root level shows that this energy of Mars retrograde underneath everything for the entire month of July is going to serve us in such a great way. Wouldn't you love the divine masculine energy out there in play on the world stage to be reinvented as this self-actualized, self-loving, generous, benevolent, creative persona that then makes everything in the world bloom around them because they're ready to give. They love themselves enough that they overflow, and they're ready to help make the world a better place. This is our Ace of Fire. Gorgeous. And for those of you who want a more personal slant on all of this, this means getting out of the crazy monkey mind energy sinks that you've been focusing on, getting away from the space of indecision and not wanting to deal with the hard stuff that you really need to deal with, make a decision, stand for your truth, and pursue whatever new direction that you'd like to take in your life with this sense of alchemical fire. So reach down deep because you've got it in your deep subconscious root level. You've got alchemical fire. You know you've got it going on. You know you've got this. Look at this beautiful empowered vertical that we've got. Sorry about the glare. Sometimes these cards bend in such a way that... Let's see if I can get that. Yay! I fixed it, I think. Look at this beautiful empowered vertical. We really do have it. We've got to have strength of higher mind and integrity of principle and the ability to stand up for ourselves and our belief. We do need to pursue our passion projects with patience and dedication, the way that Saturn in Capricorn wants us to do, but with passion and love for what we're doing from a really sincere, generous place. And that generosity includes us, is generous to ourselves. So beautiful vertical, great way out of this sort of disempowered mind space that really needs to be shaken up by these eclipses. Gorgeous. Okay, let's see what's in the help position. I mean, there's already so much help going on here, but what have we got? Oh, look! The sister card to Justice has just shown up. 11, the card of Strength, Archangel Ariel. Great inner strength, release harsh judgments, forgiveness, and compassion. Look at this. Look how wonderfully these cards pair together. Here you have the sort of warrior-like embodiment of justice and meting out justice with the sword. And then you have this warrior in more of a divine feminine aspect, but who feels like she is more of a protector, more of a nurturer. You can see the very Leo energy, and this is the embodiment of, again, that Leo golden cat solar energy of complete self-actualization. She knows that she has everything it takes. She knows that she could take out any enemy that she needed to with violence if she needed to. And yet, this card talks about compassion and releasing those harsh judgments that we can see with just a justice-based system. And this help card in the help position is letting us know this could possibly be the lovely balance that we need between, like I said, that controlling Pluto energy that we have with the Pluto opposition in Capricorn versus Cancer. This does feel like the theme of the first eclipse that we have, the partial solar eclipse on the 12th. Yeah. Justice dispensed harshly is never going to be lasting justice. Justice dispensed with love and with understanding and forgiveness and compassion is sustainable. You can see Archangel Ariel or Ariel is the protector of the entire planet. You can see the energy again of that beautiful grand earth trine coming forth, and also the grand water trine that's happening at the beginning of the month that's going to lend us so much support. We've got a grand water trine happening July 5th through the 8th, I think. That is Jupiter in Scorpio, Neptune in Pisces, and the Sun in Cancer. And that energy is going to really be hanging out, supporting us, giving us a chance to collect our emotions before we head into the fray of these eclipses. And that's really good to have. And letting us know we have support, and it's loving support. It comes through the heart center. It helps us release these old beliefs, these harsh judgments, and to act with a little more forgiveness and compassion. This is a strong figure. This embodies that really healthy Leo energy. You can see she's on the back of this sort of, it's a tiger here in this illustration, but many times the strength card does have a lion in the card, and the strength card is the card that's traditionally attributed to the sign of Leo. So we've got this energy of being able to dispense justice, but with compassion as well. Beautiful. And again, that master number 11, the number in numerology, along with the other double numbers like 22 and 33, these numbers do not reduce. So the numbers 1 and 1 here don't add up to a 2. 11 is its own animal. It is a gateway. It is an opportunity to move to a higher level, move up from quotidian, everyday ideas of justice into the higher realm idea of justice with benevolent strength. This is the card of the benevolent ruler. So awesome. This is the energy we really need to be pointed to. And this can point to that sort of North Node in Leo, the very healthy manifestation of that sort of typically self-centered. Just a lot of people describe the Leo energy as sort of being all about me, myself, and I. But there's a way to do that so that you have enough, that you love yourself enough, that you have enough compassion for everyone around you, so that you've gotten rid of all of your own limiting beliefs and self-judgment, so that then you have so much benevolent energy that it overflows out of you and you can help everyone around you too. Beautiful. This is so good. So Major Arcana definitely showing us the 2 attributes of justice and strength that we need to be focusing on, and especially the help card focusing on the more loving, compassionate, let's transform these calcified beliefs and these old systems of control and punishment and retribution into a system that can serve us on a heart and especially on a reinventive, passionate, alchemical self-actualization level. Very, very cool. I'm so excited about this reading. This is really profound stuff coming out of this kind of maelstrom of feeling a little disempowered, especially here at the end of June, beginning of July. You know, I should talk about also the fact that with all the planets going retrograde, and I said if you count Chiron, we've got 6 planets going retrograde. Just so you all know, at the beginning of July, we've got Chiron turning retrograde on the 4th of July, on Independence Day here in the US. And Chiron is, for those of you who don't know what Chiron is in astrology, Chiron is a minor icy planet that has a weird orbit. It orbits the sun sort of in an elliptical path between Saturn and Uranus. And that's significant because Saturn, like I said, the big daddy of rules and obligation and responsibility and have you done your homework, is the last planet that we can see from Earth without the aid of technology. So we need technology to see, say, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So Chiron is this icy minor planet that sort of orbits the sun between the realm that we can see, which is traditionally ascribed to Saturn, the realm of time and space. Physical reality is Saturn's domain. And Uranus is the first lord of non-physical reality, usually described as sort of the first transpersonal planet or the planet that corresponds to higher mind. And Chiron is that bridge between the two of them. So Chiron can help us grow beyond 3D concepts of how we relate to each other into a higher mind concept. It's almost like getting from that 10 realm of 1 to 10 to the 11 being the first master number. And Chiron goes retrograde on the 4th of July. And that means Chiron usually sort of symbolizes like our deep pain, our deep wounds, all the stuff that drives us crazy and keeps us up at night, and the stuff that makes our inner critic tell us we're not good enough. Whatever our parents, or whether they were well-meaning or not, or our peers told us when we were kids that hurt our feelings and made us feel not good enough or not worthy, or traumatic events that may have happened during our lives that make us feel not good enough, not worthy, or disempowered in some way. Chiron goes retrograde on the 4th, and that gives us a tremendous opportunity to go inside and to really clear out a lot of these old belief systems that don't serve us anymore. Really, again, with all the other planets retrograde, it's a very internal time, and yet there's a lot going on. A lot of crazy, sudden alchemical shifts going on with the eclipses, and we'll see those played out, I'm sure, on the world stage. With this much justice and strength showing up, we're definitely going to see this kind of, the repercussions of this in the news. And with the undercurrent of Mars retrograde, you may see the shadow side of sort of violence, anger, repressed anger coming out also in the news. So don't be surprised by that. Just know that underneath it all is the sunny side or the light side of the Martian transformation. It might be going on out of sight and there might be a lot of kind of noise on the surface, but this is happening. And this will help us staying in this mindset. Beautiful. Okay, let's see what the general direction looks like it's going to be. Right. Night of Water, emotional, romantic, enthusiastic, and contemplative. Falling in love or wedding proposals. The need to balance emotions and invitation to a social event. Our second court card on the board. This could be a water sign person entering your life, or anyone who embodies these sorts of traits that are typically ascribed to water signs. So watch out for those Scorpios, Pisces, or Cancers. Yeah. This is a wonderful energy to have as our sort of overall direction, just because we've got so much like craziness going on in the mind, and we really need to be heart-centered. This strength card pointing to those releasing harsh judgments on ourselves and others, forgiveness and compassion, is all very heart-based energy. The overall direction pointing to a water card, which is very heart-based energy, is so comforting. And it really points to that grand water trine that's going on at the beginning of the month. And we'll be hanging out in some form or fashion. Remember, the grand water trine was happening last month too. And remember how those of you who were here last month, remember how first Venus hit that third point of the triangle and then Mercury caught up. So it was almost like our heart got there first and embodied this. And then our mind sort of came to the party and got the picture. And now the sun is going to be sitting in that point at Cancer at the bottom of the triangle, or however you want to see the triangle aligned. It just depends on which way you want to align the zodiac signs. So yeah, you've got the sun now coming to the party. You've got your identity, the wholeness of how you present yourself to the world. This could be literally falling in love or wedding proposals. This could be all those summer events that are going to be fun for you. Again, like I said, this could be a person coming into your life, but it could also be an aspect of you that is coming forward to be more heart-based and release those harsh judgments and have more forgiveness and compassion for yourself as well as others. This is that Cancerian energy of self-care as well. It can also be a very Venusian energy because at the end of the month, we've got that full moon, total lunar eclipse energy that's going to be highly focused on getting rid of limiting beliefs and also transforming the manifestation of divine masculine or traditionally divine masculine energy in our collective. We've got some supportive energy hanging around kind of the remnants of that grand earth trine that we had earlier for the during the partial solar eclipse. That's going to be still hanging around in the form of, but changed somewhat. The Saturn trine part of it is still going to be hanging around. Saturn trine Uranus. This is how I kind of know everything is going to turn out okay, even if it's not so fun in the meantime. So that trine is going to be hanging around, but the one that I really want to talk about by the end of the month is the Venus trine Pluto. Remember how the first eclipse, the partial solar, is going to be a sun, moon, and Pluto opposition. So the systems of control and the sun, moon being in Cancer being opposite to the nurturing qualities of sort of women's health and families and love and self-care. Well, at the end of the month with this crazy lunar eclipse that we're having that's going to, I hope, transform this divine masculine manifestation energy, we have a Venus-Pluto trine. Venus is going to come into harmony with Pluto. Venus in Virgo and Pluto in Capricorn. And when planets come into trines, whether or not it's a grand trines are really special because it's 3 planets coming into trine energy. And trines in astrology are harmonious, easy-flowing, supportive energy. This is beautiful, wonderful to have underneath that eclipse at the end of the month because it has the capacity, because it's Mars retrograde, because it's South Node, because it's a lunar eclipse, a sort of disruptive event in and of itself. On the world stage, it has the potential to manifest the shadow side of Mars. And that can be violent, that can be grasping at control, that can be the divine masculine just desperately seeking to hang on to control structures and power over others. And the Venus trine Pluto just shows the transformative power of love. Pluto, the lord of alchemical transformation and the deep subconscious, and this just feels like that, the deep under, the treasure in the water that we've got here in this illustration, this divine feminine or typically divine feminine symbol of the chalice or the Holy Grail underneath the water. And the gallant knight of water coming charging across the surface has not yet found this secret treasure underneath. So this to me just points to that transformative power of Venus trine Pluto supporting that last really kind of attention getting and jarring potentially jarring lunar eclipse event with the transformative power of Venus's love and Pluto's alchemical reinvention, cooperating in a harmonious trine energy to let us know that all of this will be for our highest good, even if parts of it, again, are not so fun. So yes, this again could be a person, could be part of you, could be an energy, could be literally falling in love and being invited to all those summer weddings that are happening, or being proposed to yourself and having your own wedding to plan. And this need to balance emotions. Eclipses, frankly, new moons, full moons, these are events, and eclipses especially, because they're like new moons and full moons on steroids. They're really supercharged. They will affect us for at least the next 6 months. So this is a long-term effect that we're getting out of this month. There is a need to balance these emotions. There is a need to balance the priorities of family and nurturing and support and forgiveness and compassion versus the structures of control and rule of law and power over other people. There's got to be a balance of those things, and these eclipses are definitely showing us these themes at work in the world. That with the Mars retrograde energy going on underneath everything and the potential for transforming divine masculine manifestation out there in the collective, super big deal going on this month. I'm so, this is mythological stuff. I'm very excited for those of you who do have these fun things going on. This points to some relief by the end of the month, hopefully, where you get to have some fun, or this fun energy of love or romance comes to rescue you from this crazy monkey mind energy or these more heavy issues that you've been dealing with. But once we get away from these debilitating and disempowering beliefs, and once we get out of the monkey mind, it seems as if more supportive energies do have a chance to take over, and we're headed in the right direction, should we so choose. If we want to stay here, that's our choice. We can stay here and pretend there is no problem and be stuck in this cycle of crazy town. For those of you experiencing especially these types of issues in your life, there could be haters in your life that are they're literally being crazy makers in your life. Energy vampires, people who need to create chaos in your life in order to feel better about themselves. This is real. This is real stuff. And so those of you who are dealing with this to the best of your ability, do stand up for your beliefs, do what you know is right. Make sure you exercise forgiveness and compassion when it is called for, especially for yourself. Because if you focus on what you love with dedication and with passion, then something beautiful is coming out of all of this. Something heart-based, something supportive, something that feels easier. So we have this to look forward to, and that's really wonderful. Okay. Great spread. Sometimes I feel around and see if things need to be clarified. I feel like we all kind of know where we are with this, and this is really empowering and wonderful. And we do have that wheel card letting us know that we can try to stay here and get run over by the wheel of forward progress that is trying to turn in our lives, or we can get on board with it, the transformation that is going on, and go to a more fun place. So beautiful. Okay, I want to do a couple of shortcuts. Let's see here. There's a lot of transformation going on. I'm going to do the butterfly cards because those are great for sort of life changes, and there's a lot of changes going on this month with the eclipse energy and with the forward motion of the wheel. So I am going to flip the deck, and for those of you who haven't seen my shortcut process, it's just a quick and dirty 3-card spread that I do to clarify, to add more information, and to possibly give us more inspiration for this reading. All right. Okay, everyone, take the next step now. Don't get stuck here. This doesn't mean that you have to completely reinvent the wheel. Even though the eclipses are pointing to possible complete reinvention for things, the retrograde energy sometimes means that taking a giant leap or trying to change too many things really drastically right now can result in a sort of throwing the baby out with the bathwater situation, where suddenly you've taken a big leap, but you haven't looked before you leapt, and so you have poor timing, and things don't really work out right away, and you wonder, oh wow, I really tried to flip the table, but I didn't have a plan, right? And this Seven of Air definitely pointing to plans that need revision. But that doesn't mean you can't take the next baby step now. It doesn't mean that you can't decide now to get out of this head in the sand impasse place and take the next incremental, the next logical step. Just the next logical step towards doing something that you really are interested in, instead of spending energy on things that were sapping your life force in the past. Just a small baby step towards being more forgiving and compassionate with yourself and others, and releasing those harsh judgments or disempowering beliefs. Just a small baby step towards really living your highest truth and acting with passion. Those things, just like the metaphor of the butterfly flapping its wings, they call it you can look it up, it's called the butterfly effect, talking about how possibly a butterfly flapping its wings on one side of the planet can affect great changes, possibly in weather systems or in macro systems in other ways on the planet. So take that next step now in your own evolution, as long as it's a loving, empowered direction that you're going in. Beautiful. The second part in my shortcut process is just to cut. So I'm going to cut the deck here. All right, some of you need to do grief work, and this is that Chiron retrograde that I've been talking about. Chiron is definitely about old wounds. Chiron can be grieving energy over the old ways of being that maybe we're crazy making, or maybe situations or circumstances that did not serve you, but that you knew well and that you were comfortable with. Old ways of being that you were comfortable with, old identities that you were comfortable with, or possibly some of you may actually have lost someone in the recent past and are needing to deal with whatever that means now to you in your life. How are you going to now take that next step forward and still honor where you have been, bring forward with you the memories, the beauty, the lessons learned, the celebration of the good things that have been in your past, to bring them forward into a new empowering way of being? It's really tough when you're actually dealing with the loss of, say, a loved one, or you're dealing with the loss of something that may have been a situation, or say a job, or anything in your life that you were really used to and was comfortable, and suddenly has now gotten ripped out from under you. That there's an amount of grieving that needs to happen, and healing. And this Chiron retrograde period is going to be a great time to go within and do that. And that may be a manifestation of going within, and maybe some of you won't be going to an actual school, but you'll be going within to study yourself and to give yourself a little time for that self-healing that I was talking about. That may be the theme for this Cancer solar eclipse. So yeah, grief work. Okay, let's see what we get on our next cut. Hobbies, haha, look at this. Guides just acknowledging the need to study something or put energy into something that you really are passionate about. This combination of Page of Earth, study, being really just sincerely interested in something, becoming more masterful at something. This is a great time, actually, with all these planets retrograde. It's a great time to develop new skills. Like I said, it's a great time to go back to school, but it's also great to self-teach yourself something, or take a class, even if it's not going to an institution, or to learn from someone who's really good at something, as long as this is a pursuit that brings you joy. It is really wonderful. Okay, so look at this set of cards here. We've got sort of internal stuff. A happy card to pursue with joy, possibly a strengthening card to pursue and go within and know ourselves better and also really justifiably celebrate or come to terms with the things that we are leaving behind. And taking that next step towards our evolution, even if it's a small one, as long as it's sustainable and it's coming from a passionate place. Beautiful. Okay, there's also, let's see here, there's life changes going on, and there's also these themes of self-care and needing to kind of go within and figure out some of our stuff. So I'm going to do this deck that I haven't used for a little while called Healing with the Angels. And for those of you who would like to use my quick cross spread that I've demonstrated for you here, or my shortcut process that I'm in the middle of, you can definitely use these spreads as long as you attribute them to me, Izobel Freeman, and you link to my website, www.shinyallthetime.com. And if you do that, just basically, if you go to shinyallthetime.com/CC, which stands for Creative Commons, I've made all of these spreads available through Creative Commons license, and as long as you go there and cut and paste that attribution information into, say, your movie description or your project in some way, and you link to me and give me credit for the spreads, you can definitely use them. Yeah, second shortcut. Okay, Guardian Angel. This is just the guides letting us know we've got some heavy hitters on our side during this kind of crazy transformation process during July. We've got Archangel Raguel supporting us with the justice and the outcomes that will support us as we stand up for our highest truth. Archangel Ariel, who is the guardian angel of the entire planet. You can see again the planet Earth here in the illustration, and also these doves of peace. So she is the embodiment of strength, but peaceful and compassionate strength. So she's going to show us how to balance these sort of just and strong, but also caring attributes. And we also have Archangel Michael looking out for us during this process. And we all also have our own cadre of guardian angels and guides and beautiful spirit friends who hang out with us and foster our process. And all of them are just waiting. You can see here in this illustration, this woman is going through some hard times, and some of this stuff does not look, as I said, very fun. And as long as you're willing to reach out, the guardian angels never really like to interfere in your life because we all have free will and we all have that power of manifestation. And so some of us are rugged individualists and we want to do this all ourselves, and we want to think that we're on our own and I'm all I've got, and I've got to come up with all the resources to find my way out of whatever impasse or situation that I have gotten myself into. Some of us are like that, and that's a valid story, and we can totally do it that way. However, guides want us to know that there's always not just one. I mean, we like to think of it as my guardian angel, but there's more. There's more than one guide. There's more than one spirit friend. There are beautiful entities out there that we wouldn't even recognize on this plane because we can't wrap our little 3D brains around the infinite. And so there's so many manifestations of the divine just waiting for you to ask them. And you do need to ask because it's in your free will not to ask, and it's in your free will to ask. So reach out to them, reach out to any of these archangels in meditation, in prayer, whatever modality you feel like using, and they will be available to you. They can help you through this kind of crazy process here in July. Cut. Manifestation. This is what we're all here to learn to do. This is a 3D space-time playground. And sometimes it feels like a school. Sometimes it feels like punishment. But it is a plane where we all come to play on this board of 3D reality and learn to manifest the circumstances, the people, the stuff, the experiences that we want to have here. And some of us are still in school learning to do this, and some of us are getting more masterful as we go along at this manifestation game, learning not only 3D, but 4D and 5D chains of causality and ways to get what we want out of this life experience. So this is what we're here to do. And this card showing up here, just letting us know that whatever bumps along the way that we need to endure, whatever kind of challenges that we are in the middle of, we cannot grow without these challenges. And we cannot manifest what we really want without these challenges. Sometimes when we ask for something, you know that sometimes you pray for something, or you wish for something, or you say, hey, I want to manifest this, or you intend something, you set that intention in your mind, you visualize, you do all of your manifestation exercises, and you're basically asking the universe to make something happen for you, or to make the circumstances and the resources available so you can make it happen for yourself. And every time you put that out there, sometimes we are not the person that would happen to yet. Sometimes our belief systems are too antiquated. So sometimes we have stories that we tell about ourselves or about others that would just not allow what we want to happen or to come into our real life experience. And when that happens, we need challenges, or we need eclipse experiences to reset everything or to shake us out of our comfort zone. Even if our comfort zone is really not serving us and we're not having that much of a good time, if we're not changing, we're still kind of clinging to that comfort zone of discomfort. It's almost like the devil, we resist change, many of us. And so sometimes the manifestation cannot come until the lightning strike or until the challenge happens that can shake you out of that old place of stagnation and turn you into this new amazing master of manifestation. So every time you ask for something, just realize that the guides hear you and they do want to answer your prayer. They do want to answer your request for manifestation, but sometimes it's going to take giving up the person that you used to be or the way that you used to tell your life story. You got to give something up sometimes because you want to be the person. You want to be the fully actualized person whom that happens to, whom the things you want happen to. You want to be that hero. You want to be that person who gets to experience the things that you want. And whether or not you're ready for that, that's your choice of how fast can you allow things to change? How fast can you allow your life story to change? Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's not. So yeah, we're here doing this and there's a purpose to all of this. Great, cut. All right, everyone, trust. I don't know how much more simple it gets than that. Trust that no matter what crazy things are going on this month, your Ace of Fire is on its way. Your Knight of Water is on his way or her way or their way. Your stuff is coming. Your experiences that you desire, your manifestations are on their way. It just might not look so fun on the surface, especially if you've got a lot of this to clean out. A lot of things to examine and to transform during all of these retrograde periods, and possibly old stagnant energy that needs to be shaken up with these eclipses. So trust, no matter how rocky the ride is or how dramatic things get in the news, it's all for the purpose of manifesting what we really do prefer, and that guardian angels and other beautiful spirit guides and entities are fostering our process. Beautiful light-based beings who love us and who have been through this themselves on some level or another, maybe billions of lifetimes of going through this process. They're fostering us through this, and there will be a worthwhile and exciting outcome. Lovely. All right, everyone. Great decks. anyone who does want to acquire one of these beautiful decks that I've been using for yourself, I do have a resources page at shinyallthetime.com. It is shinyallthetime.com/resources. And you can go there and click on any one of my Amazon links, and you can buy that through Amazon. And just full disclosure, if you do click on any of my links at the resources page, I do get a small, like, little percentage. The price does not go up. The price is the same whether you buy it through my page or somewhere else. But if you like what I'm doing and if you like my videos, that is a wonderful way to show that you support my videos and to give me a little, monetary feedback so that I can continue, say, paying for my website. Honestly, the percentage is very tiny, so I don't actually get that much from these sales, but it allows me to do little housekeeping things like maintain my site and continue doing these videos for you. So yes, if you do purchase a deck through my resources page, I thank you in advance. Okay, I'm going to do our Angel Answers card and see what parting message that the guides would like us to take away. All right, everyone, the situation will improve. Just like that trust card was telling us, no matter how crazy this retrograde storm energy has made us feel, or how unjust things might look on the surface, no matter how intensely the divine masculine energy has been misused, mismanifested, like not just manifesting the shadow side of things, or the structures of control have been manifesting in shadow ways. The situation will improve because it must. It's the collective will of humanity that things get better. This is this beautiful, this just feels again like that Venusian or that supportive water trine energy that we're getting a shot of at the beginning of this month. And the Knight of Water, this feels again watery, heart-based energy. The situation must improve because that's what we all want. Even if we disagree about how to go about it and we're all crazy making and competing about what is just and how do we get to justice, we still all want justice. We still all want forgiveness and compassion. We want to release the harsh judgments. There's a lot of us who are afraid that if we went about things the way that they want us to, that the world would be horrible, right? And so as we continue to replace fear with love and continue to trust that things will work out, the situation has to improve because we're divine beings having a human experience. We're spiritual entities playing in this 3D space-time, and eventually our collective experience must improve because that's the way we want it. So yes, have trust no matter what, and be comforted no matter what things look like on the surface for you or out there on the world stage. And just know that you have support, that you have love. You can go out there and touch the planet and feel the love of Mother Earth. You can have trust in yourself. You can have trust in the root level and that your alchemical fire is working for change and that beautiful things are on their way to you and your situation will improve. Gorgeous. All right, everyone. Thank you so very much for joining me for this reading. It is looking pretty mythical, pretty amazingly profound. Moving from disempowerment into brighter horizons and more fun things, hopefully, on the way. Gorgeous. Okay, I am going to reward us. See how we can celebrate this crazy alchemical process we're going through this month with our fun and bubbly victory reward dice that I love to use. I always like to find a light-hearted way to celebrate because we're doing a lot of hard manifesting, self-actualizing work. And some of us are in the midst of some real stuff and learning how to find our inner strength in beautiful and sustainable and fair and balanced ways, and lighting our alchemical fire and finding love and finding more exciting things to happen happening on the horizon for us? Beautiful. And going back to school and being dedicated and really owning our Saturn energy, gorgeous. It's not easy stuff all the time. Not all fun and games, but we are really rock stars. We sometimes think as humans that we're sort of remedial and that we're not very good, and that maybe we are just not very developed and that we're insignificant in the universe, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. We are a masterclass here working in 3D space-time with very dense energy. Sometimes it can be really hard to make things happen and really hard to manifest change in our world because we're working with these extremes of really, really dark energy and really, really light energy. There's more awesome things happening in the world, and there's more kind of crappy things happening in the world than there ever have been. And this region of extremes, this realm of this massive spectrum of energy and experience that we have to explore, this is a really advanced space for us to be manifesting in, and we should really give ourselves credit for the journey that we're on. And yes, so let's give ourselves credit. Let's reward ourselves. Let's give ourselves a treat. I'm going to choose one of these dice. I'm closing my eyes. Let's see which one will it be, and take a roll. Right, everyone, do lunch. Find a restaurant that makes you happy. Find somewhere that nurtures you. This is that self-care aspect that we've been hitting on this reading. And possibly do it with people that make you feel loved and accepted. And maybe, I don't know, maybe romantic. Get away from this energy of crazy makers, and go somewhere that makes you feel nurtured. And I don't know, somewhere that has food that's really wholesome and will feed you and support your body in the right ways, and feels like this heart-based earth energy that we all really need to plug into. Maybe a great organic or artisan place. Somewhere that has really awesome reviews on Yelp. And it's a great way to feel nurtured and supported. So yes, do lunch. All right, everyone. Wow, what a great reading for my 1-year anniversary doing these readings. I am so very excited. Thank you again for joining me for this. Those of you who would like your own reading, I am going to be revamping my website in this month because it's been a year. There's some upgrades that I need to do. I'm also thinking about changing my pricing structure, and I'm going to possibly be taking breaks from doing readings for the foreseeable future. Those of you who still want a reading, please do contact me or order the reading that you want this month. But just know I'm thinking of changing it up by the end of the month. And that may mean I change my pricing structure. It might mean I change the structure of the website. I don't know what that's going to look like just yet, but I'm giving you a heads up that possibly things will be changing. Those of you who want to keep abreast of or keep informed of the changes that I am going to be making for Shining All the Time in this upcoming year, please do get on my mailing list. I do have a mailing list at shinyallthetime.com. It's either on the right-hand side of the website, right-hand side top of the website if you're on a desktop, or I think it's at the bottom of, if you scroll down to the bottom if you're on mobile. But if you get on my mailing list, you get my little newsletter for each reading that gives you more information about the major arcana and, say, the court cards that we get in every reading. So you get a little more information about the reading itself and how it applies to you, more details. And also you can stay updated on any changes that I am making to the site, and any other little projects that I have to share with you, and whatever shiny goodies I feel like sharing for that month. So yes, please do. If you're interested, go over, sign up for my mailing list. And again, thank you. Get out there, do lunch, don't be afraid. No matter what it looks like on the surface, there's good stuff going on under the surface. There's that secret hidden treasure, so I hope you all find it by the end of the month. And until then, stay shiny, and I'll see you next time.